I'd like to tell you guys a very short story, if you don't mind. Short story with a single sheet of paper. The story involves two individuals, one Christian and one non-Christian. They both lived very good lives. They were charitable people, family-oriented people, loving, good-hearted guys. But they had one difference, and that one difference in their lives would be the one thing that would separate them the most. Now, unfortunately, these two individuals would be involved in a car crash on the same day and die. And as they're walking to heaven to face their judgment, the Christian and the non-Christian looks over at the Christian and he realizes that he's carrying something in his hand. Now the non-Christian asks the Christian, "Excuse me, sir, what's that you have in your hand there?" "Oh, this? This is my ticket into heaven." Now the non-Christian checks all of his pockets, he checks under his hat, he checks in his wallet, checks everywhere he could, and he realizes he doesn't have a ticket. So he thinks for a moment, then he asks the Christian, "Excuse me, sir, can I have just a little bit of your ticket? I seem to have misplaced mine. I don't have a ticket." So the Christian, being the giving guy that he is, says, "Sure, I'll give you a little bit of my ticket." Rips him off just a little bit of his ticket, hands it to the non-Christian. They walk a little further. The non-Christian starts to reflect on his life and he realizes that, man, he still has so much more ticket, and I don't. Well, I didn't really live that good of a life. So he asks the Christian, he says, "Excuse me, sir, I don't know if you realize, but I really didn't live my life for God. I pushed him away, things didn't go my way, I cursed him. I didn't live for his glory. So if you mind if I get just a little bit more of your ticket, I'd feel a lot better." So the Christian, feeling very secure and being the giving guy that he is, says, "Sure, I'll give you just a little bit more of my ticket." So he rips off much more of his ticket and gives it to the non-Christian. And they walk on about their way. And they show up to the gates of heaven, and St. Peter's there to give them their judgment. And they look at the Christian, he looks at the non-Christian, and he realizes that the Christian has something in his hand. And he says, "Well, what's that you have there?" And the non-Christian says, "Oh, this is my ticket into heaven." Very secure. And St. Peter says, "Oh, is it? Okay, well, let's take a look what you got there." So he starts to talk to him about his beliefs and everything in his life, and he's opening up his ticket, his supposed ticket into heaven, and he says, well, he lays it out before the non-Christian. He says, "Well, that looks very familiar, sir, but I don't believe that's how you get into heaven." The non-Christian just stares at it, stunned, and he doesn't understand, and he just drops his head. So St. Peter then looks at the Christian and says, "What about you?" The Christian says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is." He pulls it out of his back pocket, he hands it to St. Peter. St. Peter says, "Okay, you can go." As the Christian walk in, the non-Christian he's just standing there in disbelief, he doesn't understand. He says, "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but it's from the same exact ticket. He gave me part of his ticket. Matter of fact, he gave me more of his ticket than what he had. So I'm not understanding why he's getting into heaven and I'm not. Explain this to me." St. Peter said, "Well, same piece of paper or not, you guys didn't live your life the same. There's only one way into heaven." And he opens up the Christian's ticket. And he said, "And that is through what Jesus did on the cross for us. He died on the cross to forgive us of our sins for our salvation. And that's the only way in."
It's the eyes for the blind.